In this video, I'm going to be giving you some tips for using renegades. But before that, I just wanted to let you guys know that the pageant event is finally over and we managed to finish in 5th place, because of which I got the Siren's Blessing Turf effect and the Mystical Siren Ops effect yesterday. It obviously wouldn't have been possible to get this far with just a logo without you all supporting me, so I just wanted to say thank you for all the support that you've given me in the event, especially the people that voted with not just their main accounts but also their farm accounts, as well as the ones that bought packs to send me votes. I'm glad I could make it to the top 8 again like I did last time. Okay, now let's get back to the video. This video is going to be about renegades. I'll be giving you some basic tips on how to use them, but I won't be going too in-depth to keep things simple. I'll probably make a separate video where I'll explain the battle mechanics when it comes to renegades for those of you that want a more in-depth explanation. The most common question that players ask me is where should they invest their skill points. From what I've observed, there are 2 stats that actually have an effect on battle reports whenever you invest your skill points in them. The first one is strength and the other one is physique. Investing in strength increases the damage that your own renegade does with their skills, while investing in physique reduces the damage that you take from enemy renegades. However, for every point invested in strength, the damage increases a lot more than the damage reduction that you get from investing in physique, so I recommend investing all your points into strength. This is also why you normally do more damage against players that have no renegades. It's because their physique is considered to be 0 and hence they have no damage reduction at all, while if you face a player that has a renegade, they'll have at least some points in the physique stat by default, which will significantly reduce your damage even if their renegade is only level 1. Now let's talk about march size. When renegades were first released, they used to do the same amount of general damage with their skills regardless of the number of troops you sent. So you could simply send just 1 troop with a renegade and they'd get a few thousand kills just from their skills. So to fix this, they recently made a small change where you're now required to send more than 10% of your march size for the renegades to be able to do full damage. So for example, if your march size is 100,000, then you'll have to send at least 10,001 troops of any type for the renegade skill to do full damage. If you use a 50% ops buff, then your march size will become 150,000, so you'll have to use 15,001 troops for the skills to do full damage. However, if you add a vigilante like Nick or Firelord that increase your march size, you'll still only have to send 10,001 or 15,001 troops, as vigilante skills aren't considered while calculating the 10% limit. Now let's talk about general damage. General damage is the amount of damage done every round whenever a renegade skill is triggered. It's calculated using the basic attack stat of the troops that you send. So for example, if you're attacking your opponent with only tier 10 vehicles, then the number 164 will be used to calculate general damage. If you use T9 bikers, then the number 91 will be used. If you use both T10 vehicles and T9 bikers, then the weighted average of their basic attack stat will be used to calculate general damage. This is also why the damage keeps changing each round during battles, because both sides lose a few troops every round during the battle, changing the troop composition for each round. The general damage is recalculated every round using the weighted average of the basic attacks of the new composition at the beginning of each round. To give you a quick example, let's say you're using 10,000 tier 9 shooters and 10,000 tier 10 vehicles in your march. The tier 9 shooters have a basic attack of 98, while the vehicles have a basic attack of 164. So the general damage will be calculated using the weighted average of those two numbers, which is 131 since the weights of both troops are equal. Let's say in round 1 we lose 5,000 tier 9 shooters. This will change the weighted average to 142 since your march now has a lot more vehicles compared to shooters. So for round 2, the general damage will be calculated using the number 142. I hope this made it clear. The damage is calculated purely based on the basic attack stat. The battle stats of the players like attack, defense, and damage percentages are completely ignored. So a player with 1000% stats should be able to do the same amount of damage with their renegades as a player with 5000% stats as long as their renegades are equally strong. The only stat that's considered while calculating renegade kills or losses is the health stat. Players with higher health will lose fewer troops than players with lower health if they suffer equal damage from renegade skills. So now that we know all this, it's pretty obvious that vehicles would be one of the best troops to use while using renegades because of their extremely high basic attack. If you look closely at your renegades, you'll notice that each renegade specializes in specific troop types. Lanching, for example, specializes in assault vehicles, Celeste specializes in tankers, etc. This specialization basically doubles the basic damage that's used while calculating the renegade's general damage. So for example, if you're using tier 10 assault vehicles with Celeste who doesn't specialize in vehicles, then the number used to calculate her general damage will be 164, which is their basic attack. However, if you use the same tier 10 assault vehicles while using Lanching who specializes in vehicles, then the number used will be 328, which is double of 164. If you're using Keith along with tier 9 bulkers, then the number 168 will be used to calculate the general damage, which is double of 84. Another important thing to note is that when it shows your renegade specializes in, let's say, assault vehicles, it actually means that they specialize in both types of vehicles, carriers and assault vehicles, and not just assault vehicles. In the same way, Celeste specializes in bulkers, not tankers, that is both tankers and combaters. Randy specializes in shooters and not just snipers. Tammy specializes in bikers and not just assaulters. Keith specializes in bulkers and not just combaters. And Stark specializes in shooters and not just gunners. Another question that I get asked a lot is which renegade is the best to use. And to be honest, I don't really know which one is the best since I've only got Lanching to 5 stars while most of my other renegades are 1 or 2 stars. So I personally use Lanching, and if you're a non-spender or a small spender, then I definitely recommend using her. The last question that a lot of people ask me is what skill should I invest my experience into? For that, I personally like investing in skills that do general damage and show the exact amount of damage that they do at the end of reports, like Heavy Cannonade, since the impact of upgrading those skills is very clear. I don't really like investing in skills that have a very vague description like Flash Explosion, which reduces the hit rate of enemy troops by 75, but there's no clear description of what actually happens when their hit rate is reduced by 75. So that was pretty much all I had to talk about Renegades. If there's anything that I missed, then be sure to leave a comment down below, as I'll probably be making another video on this topic in the near future. Once again, thanks a lot for all the votes that you guys sent me in the pageant event. Let's aim for top 4 next time. Before I end this video, I'd like to thank all of my patrons for the support. If you want to support me, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. So that's all I had for you guys in this video. I hope you guys found the video helpful. Thanks for watching the video guys, and I will see y'all in the next one.